Good morning, everybody. We are back to Big Ben Campus, and we are live. NFL Week 15 preview. It's Sunday, December 18th, 2016. My name is Jeff. They call me the Big Ben on Campus here with my co-host, Ryan. Ryan, how you doing today?
Good, buddy. Doing well. How are you?
Oh, doing great, doing great. It's we got about a week till Christmas. Christmas is next Sunday. How about
Next
that?
Sunday, yeah.
I thought it was like on a weekday. I didn't know it was on a Sunday. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
It actually, Christmas always feels like a Sunday to me. So that actually is kind of cool this year. So very good. So the NFL, how will that work? Still the same?
There's some games on Saturday next week. There's also some games on Sunday next week, and then the following week there's actually games on New Year's Day.
So now we would like to do a show next week. We're not going to, though. No. Obviously, no. We won't be here, and it's we don't have to do it every day, but we'll try to do it maybe a couple days before or something. But either way, NFL Week 15, breaking it down. We've done this show. I mean, we've probably done about 10 of the weeks this week.
Sounds
this year.
About right.
And Ryan, we mentioned last week we didn't feel too good about the card last week, and we didn't do well. We were 3-9 last week. Obviously, one of our worst days of doing this show. I mean, I don't think we've had a 3-9 day yet. We've been pretty much positive for most of the year. If you look at our record, though, 42-33 on the year, 56%. And while many will say, well, 56% still good, not great, we're 9 games above 500. For a show that picks every game regardless, it's pretty good, Ryan.
I would say so.
Again,
considering NFL is...
There's games we don't want to talk about.
Right, and NFL is, for the most part, it's pretty difficult to kind of cap. I see a lot of people having down years with the NFL. So the fact that we're sitting at 56% on, and even picking games that we wouldn't normally bet, is good.
The premise of this show is to kind of get you ready for the day. The injuries, the market moves, all sorts of things. We talk about spreads here, so feel free to chime in. You don't have to ask us to break down a certain game. We'll break them all down, and at the end, we will recap. Ryan, let's jump into Week 15 here. I got to tell you, this is a very good day as far as games are concerned. I think from not only a betting perspective, but I don't watch a lot of the NFL. Pretty good games here throughout the day. So, I think from a betting perspective, there's also a lot of good spots. So, let's jump into it here. First game on the card, Ryan, 1 o'clock, starting it right out. New York Giants -4 against the Detroit Lions, over under 40.5. Giants and the Lions both sitting at 9-4. Were you surprised to learn, Ryan, that one of these teams would be 10-4 after this game? I know the Lions have played pretty well, but the Giants 10-4, interesting. Probably the worst 10-4 team you're ever going to find.
Well, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. Both of these teams are kind of are surprises this year. I don't think anyone thought that they would be 9-4 at this point in the year. Maybe around 500, maybe it was more like it, but definitely have a chance to go to 10-4 with a win today. That says a lot about these teams.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. While we're quickly on the subject, Ryan, this woman here, Britt McHenry, we've talked about before. She came out recently with an article. She did a magazine piece for some kind of magazine, and she talked about her issue, her escapade with that parking attendant. Do you think she gets a lot of shit for that? Like, if she didn't look like that, do you think she would get a lot of shit for that? Because I would imagine guys don't really give a shit, but I think women are probably pretty annoyed with it.
I personally think that it was the fact that, obviously her being attractive plays someone into it, but I just think the fact that she was an ESPN personality.
She had to repair her image pretty.
Right. I think if that was Adam Schefter, I think it would have probably blew up the same amount. Just that it was a prominent ESPN face acting the way she did, and it blew up. And I think
it's interesting. You don't see that often come from a woman. That was definitely pretty surprising. But she looks like she's repaired her image pretty well. So, but again, let's jump into this Giants Lions. Lions have covered around 5 in a row against NFC East opponents. They have done a nice job against the division we kind of are keyed in on. Lions playing well defensively, giving up just 14 points a game over the last 3 games, and they get the Giants at a good time. This Giants team struggling to move the football. Only 17 points a game in their last 3, 263 yards a game. That's not very good. Eli Manning making mistakes. And luckily, they just had they had some luck against a Dallas team that just couldn't move the ball. Luckily, but both these teams combined, both teams have 8 games decided by 7 points or less. That's a lot of close games for these teams. I think this one comes down to the last possession or two. I think either way, whoever was getting points in this game, that's who I would go with. Luckily, I think we're getting the better team getting points here. Stafford's injured finger does concern me a little bit, but I think he'll brave it and be able to get out of this. I think Detroit's a little bit better of a team. I'm going to go with them here +4.
Yeah, this is weird. Right off the bat, we kind of are on different sides. One, Stafford's injury bothers me.
But we've talked about the points being close.
Yeah, right, and Detroit does play close games, but Stafford's injured finger in a cold, really kind of dreary day today. No Theo Riddick today. He's not going to play. He's kind of that safety valve out of the backfield. I think that's a bigger loss than some people will kind of talk about. As far as everyone else, they're in. Defensively, the Giants have really improved this year, and that's kind of what has kind of opened my eyes a little bit. I thought they would be better offensively than they are, with adding Sterling Shepard in, and with the trio wide receivers with Beckham and Cruz still there. So I thought they'd be a little better. Obviously, not running the ball and being able to run the ball is clearly a hindrance for them. Has been for some time now. I think the fact that Detroit does play close games and does pretty much stay in it with defense, which their defense has played well over the last 2 or 3 weeks. As for the Giants, it has as well. I think under would be a good look as well. I'll side with the Lions though, for the fact that they just play close games. All their games, I believe, except for one, have been decided by 7 points or less.
And so do the Giants. They play a lot of close games as well. Both these teams have 8 games each decided by 7 or less points. So that's my point here. If the Giants are getting 4 points here, I would take them. It's just kind of, I think this is going to be a close game, and I think in this case we're just luckily getting a little bit better of a team. I'm thinking Matt Stafford's less likely to throw an interception than Eli Manning, I guess. But under, Ryan, why don't you go with that? That's a good play. 40.5. It is. The weather's kind of interesting around the Northeast.
It's a low number. I wish it was a little higher, but I'm gonna stay with Detroit.
Okay, we're gonna go with Detroit +4 as the first play here. I think that's the best side. Am I gonna bet this game? Hell no. I'm not gonna be on my card. 1 o'clock Eastern. Ravens -5 against the Eagles. Over under 40. Eagles 5-8.
Yes.
Ravens 7-6. Eagles 5-8. Not the season we've expected around these parts, especially after the 3-0 start. But all good things quickly seem to come to an end with this team every year. Ryan, the Eagles 1-6 on the road against the spread. That's troublesome. They not only don't play well, they don't cover either. Eagles start at the offensive line. Alan Barber out, not going to play. Vaitai not going to play. Brandon Brooks has had issues. We know about those. Jason Peters has really been kind of off and on. He's been pretty constant, and Kelsey's been constant. But other than that, this offensive line has went down the shitter. 24 false starts this year. That leads the NFL. Jason Peters has 8 false starts this year. We say, Ryan, every week, he's good for 1 or 2 a game.
Yeah.
He's been good for 1 or 2 a game. Ravens, been a really, really good home team. 5-2 against the spread this year. They have a shutdown defense. Ryan, Carson Wentz has had issues all year with his talent around him. It's going to get very difficult today against this defense. A very good defense that is one of the top in the league. I really just think it's going to be a problem. Also, you look at the fact that Eagles no Darren Sproles, that little safety valve's gone, and their run game has really kind of been non-existent as well. And against the Ravens, the best run defense in the league, I think the Eagles are really going to have issues moving the football today. I just don't like their defense either. Lately, this defense has been a total sieve. 29 points a game they've given up. Haven't been able to get to the quarterback. And really have made it clear in past games they have checked out and have given up on the year. Ravens need this one at 7-6. Battle the birds here. I'm going with the Ravens.
Yeah, I like the Ravens here as well. I really like the Ravens, actually. This is one of my more favorite plays of the day, actually. I saw a lot of people last week saying that was a game the Eagles were going to win. I didn't see it. I didn't like the Eagles at all last week. Ever since that Packers game, this team is – look, they've realized, look, we're not going anywhere. We're not going to win. Let's just kind of go through the motions, end the year. Look, they played with more emotion last week, and look what happened. They lose and they don't cover. So, I mean,
well, for the record, they had a chance to win.
But they didn't. So if you bet the
But
Eagles,
you act like they got
if you bet the
blown out.
Eagles, you lose. That's all I'm saying. If you bet the Eagles last week, you still lost.
But the Eagles were in a bad
It doesn't matter.
play.
Well, they lost.
They could've-
regardless
they
if
were
they,
right there.
but they lost. So I mean, at the end of the day, they don't cover, and they played hard, right? But they don't have enough talent to win those games. At some point, you need to be able to overcome that, and in their close games this year, they don't find ways to win. So I want nothing to do with the Eagles right now. If you're betting on the Eagles, you might as well bet the Browns as well, because they're in that same company. I mean, Jeff touched on the ATS numbers they have on the road this year. They're really kind of just going through the motions at this point. And the Ravens, look, the Ravens have a lot to play for. Dolphins win last night. They need to kind of keep going with them and the Broncos who are in front of them in a playoff spot. No Jimmy Smith today for the Ravens. On a normal game, any other week, I'd say, yeah, big loss, but the Eagles don't have a wide receiver that scares you, so I don't think that's big of a loss as some people may think it is. Yeah, I like the Ravens here. Under 6, under a touchdown, I think that's beautiful. I just really think the Eagles struggle to really move the ball today, and while the Ravens don't have the best offense in the world, I think they'll be able to do enough.
I just don't understand the continued reasoning on putting Carson Wentz out there every week. They're not going anywhere. He's proved enough this year. I get a weird feeling they're going to put him out there till he's going to get fucking handled today for some reason. And what if he gets knocked out of a game? I mean, I don't really. It's time to start thinking ahead here a little bit.
I mean, these are. I mean, any. I'm not a big fan of like taking him out, and I mean, anyone can get injured any play of any week, but he needs the experience. These kind of moments and these kind of games, they'll help him going towards next year. To have 16 games to be able to kind of have under his belt right away will only help him get better. So that's my opinion on this.
Okay, well, when he gets knocked out and breaks his neck, then
he could have broke his neck.
Yeah, but
any other of the first 13 games, Jeff. So
yeah, well, I mean, again, it's finding it interesting, Ryan. You'll watch this game today for some reason.
Sure, I will.
Why? I mean,
why not?
There's better games on though. I mean,
well,
the Eagles aren't winning anything.
You're right, they're not. But
Eagles, Ravens have held opponents have given up just 4 touchdowns on the ground this year. That's pretty impressive. Eagles have trouble scoring today. Team total probably a great play, but I think the Ravens, I think they win this one by double digits, similar to the Cincinnati game a couple weeks ago. Joe Flacco, underrated quarterback. He doesn't have a ton of work with really either, but. We'll go with the Ravens in this spot, -5. 1 o'clock, Green Bay, -4 at Chicago, over under 38. Game time temperature, 7 degrees. Wind chill, -10. This is going to be one of the coldest games in the history of the league. However, I mean, it's not like these teams haven't played in cold weather before. I mean, I think we're blowing this a little bit out of proportion here. This total's dropped 3-4 points. Again, if this was the Jags and the Titans, maybe, but I mean, these two teams are no stranger to the cold weather, and the Bears, I mean, played very good on defense lately. They've kind of bended but not broke. Alshon Jeffrey's back this week, and actually, Reggie, I did not say they were going all the way. I said it would be interesting, and I'd wonder, is this the year? That's what I said. I didn't have any reason to think that they would go all the way. Can you trust Matt Barkley, Ryan? He's played pretty well. And this not exactly a defense that is shut down. The Packers. Aaron Rodgers looked good though. He's won 3 in a row. And look, I mean, they've already beaten the Chicago Bears 26-10. A little bit earlier this year, they won 6 in a row in Chicago. And Aaron Rodgers, 17 touchdowns in his last 5 games against Chicago. Look, Alshon's back. Yeah. Barkley's played well. Yeah. Defense has played pretty well also. But, Green Bay's covered 4-5 against Chicago, and I see no reason to think that they won't get the job done here. I think this game will be closer than, maybe you might think. I'll lean Green Bay here. Not in love with the game. Bears have played well lately.
Yeah, but as have the Packers. I mean, they've won 4 in a row. They, everyone was kind of writing them off, and they just kind of said, screw it, and, they're on a nice little streak of their own trying to get into the playoffs, and possibly will have to win out to get into the playoffs. 10 wins seems like maybe that's the number. 9 if you get some help, but yeah, they need to win out here. They can't afford to screw around against Matt Barkley. They do get Alshon Jeffrey back, but Barkley's been okay. I mean, he's done enough in some games. Last week he wasn't particularly good. He only had about 200 yards passing on the road, his first road start, and they lost the game. Their defense was the reason they were in that game last week. But yeah, in this game, Jeff, I like Green Bay. I'm not going to go against them right now as well as they're playing and as kind of focused they are. I do wonder how that cold is going to affect Green Bay, because the one thing, I think, if you want to look at the cold, I don't really pay too much attention, neither do you, like you said, but if you are going to look at it, the one thing you could say is, in the cold conditions like this, it makes it a lot harder to catch the ball for wide receivers, so the running game is obviously a little bit more important. Chicago has the better running attack, so that kind of worries me a little bit, but the way Rodgers is playing and the receivers have been stepping up, I'll go Green Bay.
Yeah, another game I probably won't get involved with, but I think Green Bay. I mean, we're starting to get down to the last few weeks of the season. Every game's become more and more important. Obviously, Green Bay's still looking at the outside. They cannot lose this game.
Right.
Cannot. I think they roll in this one and get the job done here. 1 o'clock Eastern, Vikings -5 against the Colts. Over/under 45.5. This one's in a dome, so no weather issues here. Ryan, the Vikings have covered 10 of 11 against the AFC. Pretty impressive.
Wow.
They've been a very good ATS team. We've talked about 32-14 the last 3 years. ATS. This Colts defense, I mean, after last week, Ryan, where do you go with the Colts? I mean, They had an opportunity last week, pissed it away. And now Adrian Peterson's back. That'll give him a little boost. Pretty good spot here in a dome. He kind of get his feet wet. And, at any rate, he is a quality decoy either way. So him coming back only helps their offense. Vikings have been shut down on defense. Colts have really had issues on defense. Ryan, interesting stat. When the Vikings have Sam Bradford throw 36 or fewer passes, they're 6-0 this year. When he throws more than 36 passes, they're 0-6 this year. Getting Adrian Peterson back only adds to that intrigue. The goal is under 36 passes, run the football, play good defense. I think the Vikings do that here today. I think the Colts after last week are shut out. They're done. Give me Minnesota. In a game that I really like them as well, just because they've been money against the spread. I had them last week. Didn't look good. Managed to somehow cover the number. They're just a team that you can depend on.
Yeah. I kind of side with Minnesota here. I kind of went against the grain a little bit. Went out on a limb and on a field last week and picked Indianapolis, thinking maybe they would, thinking they'd show up and they didn't. And Houston pretty much controlled that game start to finish. And Indy loses, and I have a feeling that was probably it for them as far as their playoff hopes, winning the division. So Luck is really banged up, and that kind of gets down to him. He's battled concussions this year, sore shoulder, sore elbow. He's just, I'm sure this guy cannot wait to the offseason and get healthy. And I mean, this guy, ever since he's come into the league, the offensive line has been terrible, and he just gets pounded. And he's a big guy, but at some point it just takes a toll on you. So that is worrisome against a good Vikings defense and defensive line pass rush. So at home, I would go with Minnesota here. Get AP back. He'll get his. He's not. I don't think he'll be the predominant running back today, but get him and Asiata, mix some carries in there, and have Bradford kind of do play action like he likes to do. And like you said, you make a good point. don't have him. That's not what Bradford's meant to do. He's not a gunslinger. He's not meant to throw the ball 40 times. And if you can keep it under that 36 number you talked about, they should have no problem here because the Colts just aren't a very good team.
And the completion percentage is a little misleading. He doesn't throw that much. And again, a lot of them are short, under. Huh?
No.
Oh, sorry. They're short, quick passes. So the completion percentage is a little bit misleading. But again, I don't think they should have any problem moving the football today against the Indianapolis Colts. You need a good teaser piece. This is probably a good one. 5's kind of a dead number. You get it down to all they have to do is win the game. Definitely a good spot here. If you couple the Ravens and the Vikings today, I think that's a pretty good teaser play there.
Two home teams against inferior teams that should win. All they have to do is win.
Yep. I'm just going out on a limb here. The Philadelphia Eagles, we are very connected. We know everything about this team. If they win today, I would be unbelievably surprised. I mean, really.
I said that last week. I'd be surprised if they win any of the remaining games.
They just have an odd aura of you have no reason to depend on them ever. Like they're just a different type of team than you see in the NFL. Bills -10 against the Browns. Over under 41.5. Ryan, we know Browns off a loss to who exactly?
Who are you talking about?
I think they had a bye last week. No,
the Browns. No, they played Cincinnati at home.
Okay, right. Pac-Man Jones.
They lost by 13.
Yeah, sure. They're 0-13, 2-11 against the spread. Two bad defenses here, Ryan. Cleveland gives up 29 points a game. They're the worst defense in the league. Buffalo, they're giving up 27 points a game. At home, Buffalo has been a great offensive team, Ryan. 30 points a game, and they've went 10-3 to the over this year. All 6 home games have gone over, and Ryan, this Browns team, I mean, you're facing LaShawn McCoy. They give up 4.6 yards per carry and 146 rush yards a game. I'm going to go over 41.5. I think this total a little low. Cleveland, seems like they give up 30-plus points every game. I mean, I think they're good I think they could score 14 points here. I'm going to go over. I think this total's low.
Bills have had some high-scoring games this year, Jeff.
They're 10-3 to the over.
I was going to say, you're right about that. You look at a few of their games, 20-27, 38-24, 28-21, 31-25, 41-25. I can keep going. They really play some shootouts, some high-scoring games, and why Cleveland doesn't have, the best offense in the world, I think they should be able to kind of get theirs a little bit. Look, they've struggled in recent weeks offensively, scoring 10, 7, 9, 13, and 10. You look at the teams they're playing, though. Baltimore, Pittsburgh has been good defensively. The Giants, they've been good defensively. And Cincinnati has played a little inspired the last 3 or 4 weeks. So I think today against the Bills defense, and it'll be interesting to see how the Bills come out today. There's rumors have circulated this week about they're going to fire Rex Ryan at the end of the season. Do they fight for him? Do they try to kind of keep him around, or do they just say, well, season's over, our coach is gone. It is what it is. It'll be interesting to see what kind of effort they give here. I'll side with the over as well, Jeff. Buffalo, it should be a cold day. It's clear there, so you don't have to worry about snow or rain like in some other spots this afternoon. So should be decent weather conditions, and they should be able to run the ball and get. I think Buffalo really can get some big plays today. Buffalo should really be able to, I think, score into the 30s today.
Yeah, and the good thing about Cleveland games is they're normally blowouts, so there's a lot of points at the end. What has been the fascination with taking the Browns? We've talked about that week after week, Jim. The fascination is, A, people want to say they called it. That's the whole thing. And B, I mean, that's what Sharps do. Sharps bet the games that look obvious to us. Like, most casual bettors are going to look at a game and between, let's say, these two teams and say, well, I can't bet the Browns. No way. I mean, they're just trying to bet the opposite. I mean, they're trying to fade the public. I mean, that's really the fascination of the Browns. And I don't really get the continued fascination because they don't cover. Sportsbook directors laugh at this. I mean, a lot of them are laughing that these sharps continue to bet the Browns. Again, they're just continuing to go with what the numbers justify, but yeah, I don't get it. We've talked about that before.
Yeah.
We haven't. I think we bet the Browns one time this year, and it covered. They covered
somehow. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've had good luck with the Browns, fading them and betting on them the one time. So I don't get it, but some people bet differently than I do. So we'll go over 41.5 Browns Bills.
Yep.
1 o'clock, Chiefs -6 against the Titans. Over under 41.5. Chiefs 10-3, Titans 7-6. Chiefs continuing to play well, looking like one of the better teams in this conference. I see, Ryan, they can secure a playoff berth with a win here today.
They can.
At home, great spot. Tennessee, Ryan. Obviously, the weather, Arrowhead, it's always cold there, 13 degrees. Tennessee, lately, Ryan, hasn't been that good offensively. 19 points a game. Kind of been a little bit hamstrung to move the football. It's not going to get any easier today facing the Chiefs. They're also 6-16 against the spread on the road over the last 3 years. Tennessee, again, we've talked about it. They're not a good against the spread team. Chiefs just kind of continue to move the football, get the job done. Tennessee not a very good defensive team either. They have had issues. And look, I don't like Alex Smith. I don't think anyone does, but he continues to just do enough. I'm not going to get in the way of the Chiefs right now. I think the Titans are kind of, I don't know, not I'll say it. I think they're fading a little bit, and I think they're going to go away. I'm gonna go with Kansas City here. I like the Six.
I wouldn't say the Titans are fading at all. I mean, they've won 3 or 4, and they had a big win, but they had a huge win last week against Denver. I mean, that's a huge win for that team.
But they're not looking good in this conference. That's the point.
I hear you. But, that's a big win.
That's
for them.
more of what I'm saying.
Okay. Because that was a big win for them last week. I mean, I think that's kind of a huge win going forward. I'm not talking about this year, but I mean, I'm just talking about like next year and trying to get this team, to where they want to go because they've been down for so many years. Now with the kind
good
of
thing though, Ryan, is we're not worried about next year. We're worried about today.
I'm just saying.
I hear you though.
Making the point
from a standpoint of as a organization, they have not.
I know. That was a big win last week, and I think that will help them going forward in this game. Maybe they have a little letdown after last week. That game was at home, very emotional in that building in Nashville. So I know you got to go to Kansas City, which Kansas City, whether they're good or bad, is always a tough place to play. They're, for whatever reason, they don't strike you as kind of a Super Bowl contender when you just look at them from afar and you see what they got. I mean, they don't have, Jamar Charles didn't end up coming back this year, and their wide receivers are very lackluster. Macklin's been in and out all year. Alex Smith's that game manager. The defense has pretty much carried them for the most part. But you look at some of their games. I mean, they get the job done. I mean, they have one loss in their last 10, I think, or 9. So, look, I'll go with the Chiefs. I'm not going to go against them right now. That's the side I'll go with. I don't pay attention to the cold here too. Kansas City's field at Arrowhead is heated, so it's not like they're playing on concrete, so that'll be fine. You don't have to worry too much about that condition-wise. So I'll go with Kansas City here. I just like what they do. I like what they do defensively more so than anything else, actually.
Yeah, I agreed. At home, they're giving up 16 points per game. So, it's a tough thing to do. One thing that you want to point out, Ryan, Tennessee, very good run defense, 3rd in the league, 86 yards a game. Under, I considered here. 5 of 6 in Kansas City have gone under this year. If they can control the tempo of this game, I think the game will be pretty low scoring, maybe 23-13, something like that. But I think Kansas City the play here.
Okay.
A lot of people like the Titans, I've noticed. It seems like they're kind of a trendy pick this year. You think they double-teamed her after this interview?
No, I don't.
You don't?
No.
Just, we're having fun here, Ryan.
Yeah.
Do you always have to be, real serious? We're just having fun here.
Okay.
You never want to joke around?
That was... Okay. I was just kind of that was just really random. That's all.
It's jokey.
Yeah.
But the thing off the record, Ryan, we're having fun here. This is a show. We don't have to be serious all the time.
Right.
I don't think I've ever heard you laugh on this show ever.
I just
there you go.
There.
But you never laugh. You're always like.
I do laugh. I just didn't think that was funny. Sorry.
Okay. Well, the funny thing is, a lot of things you say isn't funny. But,
to you, right?
But I'm just saying, have some fun here.
I do have fun, man. I don't know what you want me to say.
Texans -3 against the Jags, over under 39.5. We should probably not do the show in the morning anymore because Ryan is dead in the morning. He doesn't want to
well, I'm not a morning person, but I mean,
it's 11 o'clock.
I do the show to help you out. So.
But you don't really help me out, though. That's the thing. You just
then I
come
don't
in
have to do it anymore.
39.5, Ryan. What do you like in this game? Texans -3 here. Houston, good as a favorite. 3-0 this year. 14 of 17 have gotten the job done as a favorite. They've covered 11 of 14 against the AFC South, and they're in the driver's seat in this division right now after a big win last week. Their defense has been very good. Houston, again, Osweiler, you're not no one's really a big fan of, but he's kind of there and he's not going anywhere. Texans have covered 4 or 5 against Jacksonville and Houston. Their pass defense is very good. Jacksonville hasn't been able to move the ball. I don't really have a lot to say on this game. I would go with Houston just because they've been a very good favorite team. And look, they need to continue to win.
Yeah, look, the Jags there for a while, and I touched on it a few weeks ago, that they were playing really close games, and I backed them, and they got the job done. But if you look, ever since that, they've been losing by at least a touchdown or more in their last, I believe it's their last 4 games. They lost by 7, 10, and 11. So they're or 9. So they're losing by more than a touchdown here. You're telling me that Houston is laying 3.5, 4, depending on where you're getting the line at. Yeah, I like Houston all day here, coming off a big win last week against the Colts. Really kind of can control their own destiny here and can't afford a letdown against a really bad Jacksonville team. The defense, the pass defense in particular, should be able to give Bortles fits. They don't have a run game. Wish the line was a little higher, just because I think that's an interesting line. Only 3.5, but. I'm not, and we're not ones here at the show to bet against Houston at home. They seem to get the job done.
No, and they're good as a favorite as well. I'm never really into Brock Osweiler. I'm just not a fan of growing over a year here. But I'm not betting on Jacksonville either. So Texans -3, the play in that one. Let's move on. Not a lot to say on this one. 1 o'clock, Steelers -3 at Cincinnati, over under 45.5. Pittsburgh won 4 in a row. They are rolling. They've covered 4 or 5 against the Bengals. And, I think Cincinnati's going to have a tough time here. We mentioned Le'Veon Bell, 236 yards last week. Cincinnati can't stop the run. They're giving up 4.5 yards per carry. I don't really like backing the Bengals without A.J. Green. They just haven't seemed to really be able to play well without him. In the last 3 games for Pittsburgh, defense has really played well. 13.5 points a game they've given up. Kind of a weird spot for the Steelers. They've kind of been rolling, but divisional opponent, you always have kind of the off-the-field issues between these teams. But I'm not willing to get in the way of the Steelers right now. Again, I'm not interested in backing the Bengals. So I'm going to go with Pittsburgh here.
Yeah, it's funny. A month ago, Pittsburgh was riding a 3-game losing streak. Now they're rolling and kind of have things going, riding Le'Veon Bell. And I think Le'Veon Bell needs to be kind of talked about in the MVP consideration as well. I mean, for what the award is, what he's doing is just outstanding after missing the first 3 games. And I think in my opinion, I think the 2 leading candidates are 2 players that missed a handful of games to start the season with Tom Brady and Le'Veon Bell. Those 2, I think, should be really considered for the award. But as far as this game goes, Jeff, yeah, I'll go the Steelers. Look, the Bengals, they had lost 3 or 4 in a row there. You play 2 inferior teams then in the Eagles and the Browns, who they're done. They've packed it in. Credit the Bengals, though, for showing up and fighting a little bit. I think the leadership of that team, particularly on defense, says something there. These are always hard-fought games. I'm sure it'll be a dogfight. I really don't expect Pittsburgh to go in there and just whitewash the Bengals. This is a very heated rivalry. I think it'll be close for the most part. Maybe into the fourth quarter, and then the Steelers kind of separate themselves maybe by a touchdown or 9 points, somewhere along those lines. So I like the Steelers here, though. Bell should have a big game again today. I mean, like you said, the Bengals don't stop the run particularly well, and Bell gets a lot of touches out of the backfield in the receiving game. So he should have another nice day.
Cincinnati scored 21 points or less in the last 16 games against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's playing pretty well defensively right now. How long, though, do you think that will last? I mean, Pittsburgh, not exactly a team that you like to depend on defensively. But
big thing with Pittsburgh defensively over the last handful of games on the streak that they're on, playing well defensively, pressure on the quarterback. They have, I believe in the last 4 games, they have like 13 sacks. Over the first 8 games, they only had 10. So getting after the quarterback is the clear reason why they're having success defensively.
4:05, let's move along to the 4 o'clock games. Cardinals -3 against the Saints, over under 49.5. Saints good as an underdog this year, 5-1 to the number. Cardinals haven't been covering, 4 of 9 overall this year. But Saints, 2 straight losses. They've lost 4 or 5, and they've kind of faded away a little bit. Breeze, kind of a different quarterback on the road. And Drew Brees, Ryan, no touchdown passes in the last 2 games. I don't think it's going to get any easier today either. They're facing the Cardinals, the number 2 pass defense in the league, giving up just 200 yards a game. Delvin Breaux, one of the better corners for the Saints. That's not good against Carson Palmer. Again, Palmer, a guy that you definitely don't want to depend on too much. He definitely has, like last week before the game was half over, he already had 2 interceptions. I mean, he just throws ducks up constantly. Home team though has won 6 straight in this series. Hard for me to fade that. I'm gonna go with Arizona here at home. I think I'm not interested in the Saints right now.
I'm not interested in the Saints and Drew Brees. We talked about it all year, how different he is on the road, and that holds true, I think, again today with the defense against Arizona. Look, I don't like Carson Palmer either. He, for whatever reason, is good for 2 turnovers a game at least. But the Saints defensively aren't anything special, as we know. This is pretty cut and dry for me. I like Arizona. I think to kind of win kind of comfortably, but it wouldn't surprise me, though, if, like you said, Drew Brees hasn't thrown a touchdown the last 2 weeks. If he comes out and says, all right, fuck this, I'm going balls to the wall. They will get Michael Thomas back this week. He didn't play last week, so that's his biggest weapon so far in the year. So he'll be playing today. So, but I'll go Cardinals here. I can't back the Saints on the road. I can't do it. They're just a completely different team.
Yeah, no, agreed. Cardinals, pretty solid play here in the late games. 405 Falcons, -14 against the 49ers, over-under 50.5. Atlanta, 11-2 to the over this year, Ryan. 6 of their home games, all 6 have gone over. Niners, 4-2 to the over this year on the road. This Niners team is fucking horrible. 35 points a game they give up on defense, 6.4 yards per play. That's not good against the Falcons at home. 34 points a game they give up. I feel bad for the Niner defense this week. You look at Atlanta, one of the better passing offenses in the league, but they actually have the worst pass defense in the league. You have to figure Kaepernick should be able to move the ball a little bit today. San Francisco also has the worst rush defense in the league, giving up 5 yards per carry. Devontae Freeman, 6 touchdowns in his last 3 home games. I think the one's fireworks. I think this one's like 34-28, 38-28 or something. I think this one gets way over the total.
Yeah, no Julio Jones today for the Falcons. He's out again. And look, the Falcons, they should be focused. I mean, they're only up 1 game on the surging Buccaneers, who they've won 5 games in a row, and they have a big game tonight over in Dallas. So this is an important game. And San Francisco, look, they're a bad team. That goes without saying. It can't stop the run. The 2 running backs, Coleman and Freeman, should have nice days today as well. The Falcons should be able to get into the 30s. Even without Julio Jones, they do have weapons there. They should be able to get in the 30s, you would imagine. And with Kaepernick against a middle-of-the-pack defense against Atlanta, they should be
worst defense in the league as far as pass defense.
They should be able to get theirs, I would imagine. And even if it's late in some garbage time, where you get 10 points or so in some garbage time, that's beautiful as well. So yeah, I would slightly lean to the over there as well. This is a game that I have. I'll be honest. When I looked at these games, this is the one that I was like, well, do I like a side? Not particularly. Do I like a total? Kind of, but I'll start with the over with you, Jeff.
I mean, the Falcons, they're laying a 14er, and they could be up, 38-17 late. But the issue for me is, do you really trust them to get a stop late? I mean, their defense is bad. I mean,
yeah.
I don't really trust them. They could win this one, 42-14, really. But I don't know. I'm going to go over. I just think, these guys get into the high 50s. 425, Patriots -3 against Denver, over under 43.5. AFC Championship rematch. Denver obviously got the job done last year. However, little revenge here for Tom Brady, who Patriots looking to get the number 1 seed here in the AFC, and this game would go a long way in doing that. Patriots 5-1 on the road this year against the spread, and Denver's coming off a game against Tennessee, which we mentioned. They had 18 rush yards in that game. 18. not going to get any easier today. Patriots have played a lot better defensively, giving up just 18 points a game on the road. Tom Brady, last 10 games against Denver, 2,814 yards, 21 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Pretty damn good. A lot on the line for the Patriots. Look, Denver's a nice team. I don't really trust their offense to be able to score on a consistent basis. I think the Patriots are just on another level right now. Yeah, but he has 21 touchdowns in the last 10 games, man. I get they don't have a lot of success there. However, I think right now, a lot to play for. And again, guys, I mean, we talk about Belichick. This is why Bill Belichick wins Super Bowls so frequently. Because while all of us have basically piled on Michael Floyd, and for instance, the Philadelphia Eagles, they don't want any part of Michael Floyd because for whatever reason, they think the receivers they have are good enough. Now, will Michael Floyd help you long term? Probably not. The problem is, this is why you aren't ever any good because you don't take shots like this on guys that can help your football team. The problem is the Patriots do, and that's why they win all long term. We can laugh, Ron, you can laugh and say that Michael Floyd's not going to help this team. The problem is he's better than everyone else on this team. That's the issue I have. They're never willing to make a move to benefit possibly their team low risk. That's why the Patriots win and should be the mirror of organization for every team out there. They win today. They cover. I think they win by 7 to 10 points here.
Yeah, this is a tough one for me. Broncos coming off. It is a tough one. I mean, that number there, 2-7 in Denver. I mean, you can't ignore that. For whatever reason, he just doesn't play well in Denver. They lost last year in overtime with Brock Osweiler.
He's 2 interceptions in 10 games against Denver.
As the quarterback in Denver last year with Osweiler there, who kind of seen what he's doing this year. So that kind of that says something there. Look. This is tough, and this is a game that I don't want anything to do with really. I'll go with the Patriots just because I don't like betting against them. I don't like picking against them. And Trevor Siemian, he's banged up, and look, they can't run the ball, so I'll go with New England. But this will be a fun game to watch. If you got nothing to do at 4:30, definitely tune into this one because I think it'll be interesting.
Oakland minus 2.5 against San Diego, over under 49. Oakland at 10-3, they are continuing to hammer away at getting to the playoffs. Looks like that's a foregone conclusion here. And people can say, "Oh, I don't really like Oakland. They don't. I don't trust them on defense, whatever." But if they continue to win, and it just continues to get worse for San Diego. No Melvin Gordon today, Ryan. I looked at their depth chart. They don't have a whole hell of a lot. They're still scoring, though. 30 points a game at home this year. Phillip Rivers is doing a lot with a little. Kenneth Farrow, Ryan, leads the charge for the San Diego Chargers in the backfield. Do you remember him? He played at Houston,
Yep.
The Cougars. Oakland just kind of rolling. Don't really play great defense. Neither of these teams have good passing defenses. Two of the worst pass defenses in the league. Last game in this series a couple weeks ago, about a month or two, 34-31, Oakland prevailed. Both these teams love to throw the football around. I think this is another wild one. I'll go over 49.
I like over as well. Look, the last time they played 34-31, 65 points right there. Total sitting at 49 and a half. And even if the Raiders kind of come out really focused and kind of give it to San Diego, Phillip Rivers, I mean, he's a fantasy, I don't even have a term for it, just because he always just puts up those garbage numbers, scores those garbage points, and it always sails those numbers over the total. And if you look at the Chargers this year, a lot of shootouts this year, a lot of shootouts. I remember earlier against Oakland, like I talked about. I remember against Tennessee. So, look, their defense isn't particularly good. They're a little short at the skill positions, but that says a lot about Phillip Rivers and how kind of fearless and I think he's a solid quarterback personally. I know he gives you interceptions, but he'll go out there and he'll sling it around and make some plays. And against the Raiders defense, that's just been kind of just blase all year. Yeah, I like the over in this spot as well. I have a hard time seeing this number stay low. I really do. I have a hard time seeing both defenses play well today. I just really don't. I don't see it. I don't see why that would happen.
No, I hear you. Ryan, does it bother you about Aaron Rodgers? He's never won in single-digit temperatures.
Interesting.
Which I didn't know that.
How many times has he played?
3 times.
I don't think that holds much water.
But, again, how often do you play in single-digit temperatures? It doesn't happen too much. He hasn't gotten the job done. But, again, pretty important game. They need it, so we'll see. But we'll go over 49 in San Diego, Oakland. Last one, 8:30, Dallas, -7 against the Bucks, over-under 47.5. Last 3 games for Tampa Bay, 19 points a game. However, defensively, giving up 12 points a game. They've turned the ball over 14 times, I believe, in the last 5 games, their opponents. So they're averaging about almost 3 turnovers a game. That's pretty impressive. Look, another game that Dak Prescott throws under 200 yards. He only had a 56% completion percentage. The talk is, when are we going to go to Tony Romo? I think after tonight, they go back to Tony Romo. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a live dog tonight. Problem is, a lot of the rest of the world thinks that as well. 6 of the last 8 in the series have gone under the total. I think with the way the Cowboys defense kind of bends but doesn't break, Dak's kind of lately inability to move the football, Bucks inspired defensively. I like the under, 47.5. I think this one's, I could see it, 23-17 or something. I almost want to go with the Bucks here at 7, but, I don't know. It's weird.
So where are you going?
I'm going to go under 47.5.
Yeah, you and I are kind of on the same page on this one, kind of 100%. Like, I kind of want to go with the Bucks, but it seems like the whole world is on them, and that's in the NFL. You don't have a good feeling when that happens. But I really like the under, actually. I really like the under this game. I think this is a hard-fought game. Buccaneers defense has really stepped up to the plate as of late. And Dallas, look, everyone in America, I would think, feels that, look, Dallas, their defense isn't any good, but they just don't allow points, and they hold teams to field goals, and their defense isn't on the field a bunch because of the offense. But the offense as of late has really kind of sputtered. Prescott has kind of struggled a little bit, maybe hit a wall. Look, he's played some good defenses over the last couple weeks in Minnesota and New York, facing another hot team tonight. I don't think neither team is gonna go wild tonight. I think the game stays under 47-48, relatively easy.
If Dallas loses tonight, do you have to almost look at Tony Romo? He is. His past speaks for itself. If they lose again tonight and Dak doesn't play well, we're starting to get to crunch time here. Who's their quarterback in the first week of the playoffs?
Prescott.
Yeah,
I don't think you can go to Romo. That opens up a whole can of worms and really just kind of can put a divide in the locker room, because I'm sure there's people that want Romo starting. I'm sure there's players that want Dak to stay in there. Dak has gotten you to this point. I know he hasn't looked particularly well over the last couple games, but he has gotten them to this point, and I think he should stay in there. And look, they have a game plan. And when it goes accordingly and it goes to the way they draw things up, they're tough to beat. If they can get Ezekiel Elliott going and he's the primary focus of the offense and he's having a good game, that makes things a lot easier for Prescott. When teams hone in on him and kind of stifle him a little bit, you see the real Dak Prescott. And that's why I've never really been overly impressed with Prescott. I just think he's in a very good situation. But I think putting Romo in there, Jeff, with all the injuries and not having any games to kind of shake the rust off a little bit, I don't think that would be ideal.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I was just kind of wondered what you thought. But we'll recap here. We like the Buccaneers and Dallas under 47.5. We like Oakland, San Diego over 49. Patriots -3. Over 50.5, Falcons. Cardinals -3. Steelers -3. Texans -3. Chiefs -6. Over 41.5, Bills, Browns. Vikings -5. Green Bay -4. Ravens -5. Lions +4. So overs in there. some favorites.
Hey,
in
favorites
there.
didn't cover last week. Maybe they cover this week.
Yeah, I think we have some good plays there, Ryan. Bowl season, Ryan, began yesterday, and with a whimper, didn't pan out very well for not only for I think fans, but the game sucked. I mean, none were really very good. New Mexico edges out the Road Runners of Texas San Antonio. They actually, Ryan got a late touchdown, UTSA, to cover.
Yep.
So if you had the Road Runners, good for you. Who did we give? We gave out New Mexico in that game, I think, in our free bowl coverage.
New Mexico or the over?
Yeah.
One of those.
Houston, no-showed yesterday. How about the Aztecs? No one liked them yesterday, I don't think, and they came to play. Donald Pumphrey breaks the FBS rushing record.
Yep.
And look, we can continue to bash, but Rocky Long just continues to put a quality program out there. Not a lot to work with a quarterback seemingly every year. They just kind of play good defense, and they held a Houston offense at 10 points, which
they were down 10 in that game. So
34 unanswered for the Aztecs. They get the job done in the Las Vegas Bowl, and it just really opens your eyes on Houston football back to nothing again. New coach, their quarterback gone. A lot of their players, I'm sure, annoyed with the program. Defensive coordinator leaves yesterday. Back to demotion for the Houston Cougars after a nice season in a couple years. App State, that was actually a pretty good game.
it was.
I looked at the under. I had the under, small play in the under, and the under came through somehow.
Yeah.
It was 28-28, start of the fourth quarter, and Toledo misses a 30-yard field goal with about a minute to go to lose. We gave out Upstate. We gave it the under, I think, in that game. So we won. Arkansas State, they beat UCF. A poor showing from the
Knights.
UCF Knights.
I know.
Scott Frost was all the talk, but no showed. Southern Miss. How about those? How about the Eagles? They get the job done against UL Lafayette. By the way, Ryan, we talked about Anthony Jennings, UL Lafayette quarterback. He's brutal, dude.
Yeah.
That guy. He is brutal. But Nick Mullins, obviously, we talked with him in there. He is the guy that you want to have. Ryan, bowl games coming up. I mean, are you very intrigued by any of these this week? Coming up, you have some decent matchups.
I think, the game Tuesday with Memphis and Western Kentucky, I think obviously it could be extremely entertaining. Other than that, like as far as the immediate future, not a whole lot. I mean, if Navy was fully healthy, I think the Louisiana Tech Navy, like when that first came out, I was like, man, if Navy was fully healthy, that game I think could have really had some fireworks. Up until after Christmas, Jeff, those are the two games that I look to. Central Michigan, Tulsa, I think has some potential, but other than that, those are
Eastern Michigan, Old Dominion could be a wild game. I think BYU, Wyoming's intriguing, but I mean, you just kind of plan out the string with a lot of these bowl games. What's up with the Minnesota Gophers? Nothing. They're back in. They're going to play. Boycott's over. I think they were leaned on a little bit heavily there. They have to play.
Sure.
So that will happen. Ron, yesterday, a couple things with college basketball quickly. How about Malik Monk?
Yep.
47 points against UNC, the most points scored by a player this year. I mean, we just continue to show that Kentucky's nasty, man. I mean, they really are. Great win yesterday. How about the high-scoring game? 103-100, no overtime.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. Duke, they were off yesterday, I believe. I didn't see them on the schedule. They were off. As far as some other news and notes, a lot of close games yesterday. As far as what we learned, I don't know. I mean, I think we continue to see that, the teams are Duke, Kentucky, Kansas, Villanova.
What caught my eye yesterday was a game that I didn't watch. I was kind of watching the Flyers. We had some running around to do later in the evening and had some plans there. But the last time I saw the score of the Notre Dame-Purdue game, Notre Dame was up 16. They ended up losing by 5.
Yeah, tough loss for them.
That's a really tough loss. That really opened my eyes. That was the game that opened my eyes. Also, Butler.
Yeah, nice win against Indiana. Great
on the road.
Great day of basketball for the state of Indiana yesterday. You also had Valpo, Indiana State, another pretty good matchup. A lot of good games yesterday in Indiana. I'm going to tell you right now, Ryan, the Purdue Boilermakers, I'm high on going forward. I like them, Creighton, Butler, and I do like Notre Dame still. Those 4 teams, look out for mid-major wise. Also, Ryan, yesterday, Archie Miller, coach of Dayton, tough loss for Dayton yesterday to Northwestern. Northwestern kind of playing well this year, and I guess Archie Miller was getting shit on Twitter for kind of not winning that game, the game they should have won. His wife took to the airwaves.
No kidding.
All I need to say is my husband has coached his way to an Elite 8 at Dayton. Where has Northwestern gone? Nowhere! Explanation point. So she was not happy
It's
with
never good when like wives and girlfriends go on Twitter.
I respect that, though. That is a wife that loves her husband, defending her husband, and I have no problem with it. But I think to get on Archie Miller is a little bit ridiculous. I mean, he's been a great coach at Dayton.
I mean, to
so.
take a team like Dayton to the Elite Eight,
Yeah.
I mean, he should be able to do whatever he wants there.
Yeah. I think college basketball I think should be one of the better years we've seen in a while. A lot of really good teams. Ryan, who do you think? Very loaded question. At the end of the day, April 5th or whatever it is, who is cutting down the nets? About 6 weeks into the season here.
I've said kind of since the beginning, I kind of like what Duke has, and especially when they can kind of get back healthy. I really like what Duke brings to the table. But one thing that always kind of sticks in the back of my head is with Kentucky. The thing about Kentucky is that team's only going to get better as the season goes on because of how young they are, and they haven't played together, and cohesion that'll all come together, and they'll kind of start to kind of build some momentum. And that was a big win yesterday. So for right now, those are the 2 teams that kind of jump to my mind. I mean, I know it's only December 18th, and it's like you said, a loaded question, but those are the 2 teams that come to my mind right now is Duke and Kentucky.
One thing I do know, Villanova will not win. Villanova is not the number 1 team in the country, but again, I guess you just have to say they are. Baylor.
Hart is.
Yeah, he's really good.
He's very good.
Baylor will fade, just like they do every other year. How many times is Baylor in the top 10, like, before January 1st, and at the end of the year, they barely make the tournament?
Yep.
Yeah, Baylor's not winning anything. They're not the best team in that conference. They're not the second best team in that conference, I don't think. So we'll see. But I don't think Baylor. Are you impressed at Baylor? Motley's good.
No, I made
the
the sentiment earlier in the week that's kind of what Baylor does. Baylor gets your hopes up in the first couple months of the season, and then when they get to conference tournament or conference time, and I know it's a tough conference, but at the end of the day, you need to eventually get over that hump, and they haven't done it, and they can't do it, and until they show me they can, there's no reason why I should believe they will be able to. So Baylor, they're that team that just kind of get your hopes up and then lets them down.
Watch out for Gonzaga. Gonzaga, a lot of good wins on that schedule already.
We say that every year, and they never
look at their schedule. They have a lot of good wins.
Yeah,
they haven't had wins like this. Watch out for the Bulldogs. But Ryan, last night we had a nice time at. You were invited. Well, I don't know why, but you were invited.
Because your parents love me.
To the party. Nice little shindig. No.
Mm-hmm. No, it was a good time. Very enjoyable Christmas party as many people attend this time of year, which I find to be enjoyable.
Always an enjoyable party, enjoyable time. Had a little fire going.
Little food, little drinks, little fire, a little just conversation.
What'd you think of the spread? It was pretty good, I thought.
I enjoyed it.
Catered.
It was. Yeah, it was good.
Little
of everything.
Yeah, sure. All right, Ryan, thanks for coming on in your tired state, we can say. Everyone have a great day. Ryan, what's your favorite play on the card today? Ravens? All right. Let's bet on the Ravens today, Ryan. How about it? Let's fade the Eagles.
I'm telling you, I mentioned that when we broke down the game that I really like the Ravens today. They have a lot to play for. Eagles are really kind of, banged up, kind of all over the place, and I just don't see the Eagles doing much, man. I really don't. That's probably it's probably the play I like the most. I would have to kind of say.
You ever use that thing?
A jug machine?
Yeah,
I have.
How hard is that? It looks pretty.
Well, it depends on the speed because you can adjust the speed on those things. So I never had it up because we would fuck around with in high school with those things in practice. And it was kind of fun because you can put them up or down so you can practice fielding punts with them. They're fun to use though, but they can fucking sling it. Those jugs machines can sling it.
Yeah. I see that. All right, guys. Everyone have a great day. We'll be back tomorrow, Monday, 5 o'clock Eastern, with another show. Whether Ryan will be there or not, I'm not sure. But we'll be back either way. The weather around here just continues to be bad. Like, it's like 10 degrees one day, rainy and 50 the next. When is Mother Nature going to? When is Mother Nature going to get it right here?
I don't know. That's this time of the year. It's all over the place.
Sure. All right, everyone have a great day. We'll see you next time. Have a good day. Bye-bye.